Nostromos. I don't even know if is that how he even sounds. I don't know. This episode
The
sucks.
the both the positive and the negative are aligned.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to Batman The Fan-imated stream. I'm, of course, Dave, the film junkie, and with me, as always, Scott McClellan. How's it going, sir?
It's I think the real prophecy of doom was watching this episode. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. This is not a great episode. In
No,
fact,
it's
probably,
not.
I mean, I after watching this episode today, I almost went. Well, first off, I'm like definitely just like, oh. After watching this episode, I went, I might like Batman in my basement more. I think I do.
I think this is what I'll say. Batman in my basement at least feels more like a Batman story than this does.
Oh my Lord, man. How's everybody doing? We got Mr. Will Diesel here. Yeah, we love you too, sir. We try to be the best. We try to be the best. And we got Rerum Trading. First to say first. Okay. Mr. Fear Jason, there you go. Thank you for that art earlier that you drew of me and Zack Snyder. That was pretty damn awesome. I don't know if you saw that when I posted that earlier.
I did see that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We look a little lit in there though. Squinty eyes, but you know, I remember that. Now that was from SnyderCon. What's going on, Jason? And yeah, you know, Zach did have a couple of margaritas, so it was cool. But yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Yeah, we're doing one where, I mean, luckily, there's always going to be these ones in the middle. We've had some good ones. I mean, last week, of course, we had one of the greats, which was Beware the Great Ghost. And next week, it gets better.
It gets better. It gets really better next week.
Does.
Yes.
But this one, we're going to have to power through this one. But man, I tell you what, usually I have about a page and a half of notes. I have almost like a half a page of notes on this one because it was just
I literally wrote 6 things down. We'll
go through it, but it's like there's just some things in here where I'm like, God, this episode is just, I mean, the animation is also bad. I mean, it's the low grade animation. It's
the Christmas of the Joker studio again. Yes. I know what I almost feel like I'm being polite by not actually like paying attention to what the name of the studio is, so I don't like call them out and going, "Oh, it's you guys." Okay.
I know, man.
It's like Spectrum shows up when we're like, "Yay, Spectrum!"
I know. Look at that, it's pretty. Oh, it's great. But yeah, I was just this one. Then I was like, "Yep, it all just is not that great." I mean, it's not even. It's a character that's a con man, and I mean. Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting, but there's some interesting things that happened that I forgot in this episode, and I'm going.
I forgot a lot of this episode.
I remember
the planetarium.
Yeah, the planetarium, and I remember the beginning, which of course it starts off on a cruise ship.
Forgot that completely. Nothing. I had no memory of this whatsoever.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's not memorable really at all. But I just remembered how Nostromos looks kind of like Ra's al Ghul, you know, a little bit, you know, the animation's got the black around the eyes. So I remember, I think I was always confused as a kid because going back to it, I thought, is that the same? No, it's not. Definitely not the same guy. But yeah, it starts off with cruise. That's happening. And then there's like a bomb goes off in the cruise. And
then we get a reenactment of the Titanic.
Pretty much, it's pretty much that because people are running to the top, and then they try to get into the little boats, and then it's sinking. And I mean, and again, though, you know, there is Shirley Walker's score, and she does really capture that cruise life essence of the score right here. And then when it's all going crazy, she, you know, does a great job. You know, at least the score is good. At least, but there's. I even wrote this down. I said, like, people run to the boats. There's a goldfish.
Oh my God, yes, the goldfish. Oh my God.
Oh yes, yeah. There's like this random goldfish that people run back. That's in a bowl that's just sitting somewhere. And then when the water starts getting in, it just takes out the bowl. I mean, obviously the goldfish is fine. We know that. He's free now. But it's just like, why? Why is there a goldfish in a random fish bowl?
I don't. There's a lot of why going on this episode, Dave. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's, you know, the ship goes down, and then we transition then, of course, to Bruce having dinner with some random characters that, by the way, we will never see again for the
Nope.
rest of the series.
Lisa and Ethan.
Yes. By the
Lisa.
way, here's my little tidbit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Lisa was?
It sounded familiar, but I did not know. You know who she sounded like? She sounded like Amy Adams to me. I don't know why. There was like an Amy Adams like voice like that I was hearing, but obviously it's not Amy Adams.
It's
but
not Amy Adams.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Heather Locklear.
Heather Locklear. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just here going, wow, this
hell?
would I know. Oh, and this is like totally the time, the early 90s when I would be like secretly trying to watch Melrose Place when it came on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you do that.
I know, right? Yeah.
Hey, whatever you can get back then. Do you know who was voicing the dad, Ethan?
The name did like literally when I looked at the I was wondering
because he sounded familiar.
The voice was like,
yeah, sounded familiar.
He sounds familiar, but he's not a name. Like he's not one of those guys that you go, oh, him. No, it's gonna be one of those. I'm sure I've heard your voice, but unfortunately, I just never learned who you were.
Yeah. I was like, it does sound like somebody, but yeah, did not totally grab that it was Heather Locklear. That's pretty cool though. And then so they're at dinner, and he's we got the Ethan who's just trying to sell the whole Nostromos thing to Bruce, and Bruce is already just like, come on, man, really? What is this?
I mean, come on, Batman is well known in the comic books to be like an agnostic. He's like faith, like that's what always made the Faith line from Zack Snyder's Justice League go so weird. It was because it's like, wow, that's a different Batman.
Which is, but it makes sense with that story, obviously.
Or it makes sense with that story, but
he's always been. He's always had his you're right.
He's cynical, he's realist, he's science and empirical data, and so he knows that this is utter bullcock. It's just like no.
Yeah, and then but of course Ethan's selling it because he's telling about predictions, and he tells him like, oh yeah, I was supposed to go on this cruise, and then it ended up sinking. And of course Lisa's not having it. She's just like, yeah, coincidence, whatever. Stop it, Dad. And then, of course, Bruce gets his little quip at the end. He goes, because he wants him to check it out. He goes, well, maybe I'll have to check my horoscope. I'm just like,
hey, at least Conroy sold that. Like that was one of those because there's a couple of cheesy lines in this episode, but that one, Conroy's delivery made it go. Now, Lucas, the goon, has one at the end of the episode. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No,
it's bad. It's bad. By the way, Lucas kind of looks like Harvey, like a similar face.
You know what? I was saying that Lucas's character design was like, wow, that's a recycle. Yeah.
That's a little bit of a recycle. You could tell that they didn't put a lot of effort into this episode. They really didn't. And Bruce walks Lisa back to her car, and she's just complaining. And then Bruce is when Bruce, then we cut to Bruce like actually going to one of these performances from Nostromos. And when he shows up, Bruce is just kind of like, what's really weird is just Bruce is holding like a glass of water just randomly. Yeah. It's just, and of course it comes into play in the scene because when Nostromos is doing his whole spiel, and then Bruce is just kind of like, he's turning to people like, what, just kind of just asking questions, this, that, and this. And then Nostromos just looks at him like something's going to happen to you. I forgot exactly what he says. And then the glass just shatters in Bruce's hand. And even then, Bruce is like, how'd you do that? Like, nah, come on, man. Come on.
Well, what I also thought was interesting was that I loved how Bruce was asking questions. I mean, Bruce is playing the part of,
performance.
He's putting on the performance of, I don't know what's going on here. Oh my goodness, please tell me. Let me act like I actually give a crap about what it is that this loony is saying. And of course, then I love the fact that, okay, here's a question I have. Okay, so we go back to the Bat Cave. We do get a pretty cool shot of Batman like standing on a ledge, staring into the abyss of the cave with the bats flying and the cape flapping. And I'm like, okay, That looked cool. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But Alfred's like, how did he do it? He's like, the psychic
Vibrations,
vibrations of it.
Alfred.
Now probably some sort of high frequency sonic device.
Yeah.
But then he goes and types it into the computer.
Yeah.
And the guy's got a record.
Yeah.
And I see going. So obviously with the back computer hooked up to, criminal files and everything.
Yeah.
It's public knowledge this guy has a criminal record. It's like,
Yeah.
so you tell me all these rich people couldn't do, couldn't do a Google search?
Nope. Could not. Now, when the guy proved everything, he proves everything when something happens, and that's all they need right there. But it was he just types it in, and his name is Carl Fowler. Because
I know, I love how just ridiculously plain his real name is.
But at the same time, though, he did. Batman or Bruce lifted the fingerprints, and that's how he found it. So I guess you could say like that, that's why the other people didn't, but still,
that's true. That's you have point there, because he was matching the prints.
He was matching the prints, so there is that right there. And then his partner Lucas, who's a special effects guy, but at the same time, it's like, well, Bruce, just take all this to Ethan, just give it to Ethan. But then I think Bruce was like, you know what? All the people are locked up in Arkham. I need something to do.
Or Gordon. I don't know. Maybe actually take this to the cops.
Yeah, there's no Gordon in this episode.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, it's not an actual supervillain. It's just a con man.
Yeah.
The people being conned are these rich old people.
Yep.
I mean, until the kidnapping happens at the end, it's all like very non-violent crime.
It really is. It's just,
well, except for the bomb. Like, the bomb could have killed some people. Like, there's implications.
There's some fuckery going on, because in the next scene we got Bruce going, to Wayne Enterprises, and then he gets on the elevator, and then it just so happens that the security guard's like, hey, the guy just fixed it right now. So, and
by the way, security guard.
Oh, that's Efren.
That's Efren.
Yeah, it was Efren. Okay, I was like, it was Efren. I spotted that. I can spot his voice now. But so Bruce just of course, just gives that, I didn't know it was broken. And then of course we go, we know what's going to happen here. And sure enough, you see a figure just throw a wrench into the gears, just throw it in there. And of course things start going haywire.
Oh, don't forget about the test tube of acid that
he got acid, and he puts it on the cable. And then, of course, so the elevator, this broad daylight, Bruce is in there. And then what happens? The little door at the top of the elevator, and a grapple hook comes out, or, grappling gun just comes out, and Batman just comes shooting out. And I'm like, what? It's like, okay, so you have the suit underneath your suit and your grappling gun. It's like, where are you hiding all this, Bruce?
Well, let's talk about how baggy that brown suit actually is. True. That thing is not a form. It always made Bruce look lumpy and frumpy in that brown suit.
Makes sense. You could hide it all in there, but it was just kind of like, damn. I mean, good thing you had all that. How else would you have gotten out of this situation if you didn't have? If one day you said, I don't need to have my bat suit underneath this or anything, But luckily he did. So he's always prepared. At least he's definitely always prepared.
Prep
so
time.
Then he gets
it's Batman.
It is Batman. He's always got the contingencies and everything like that. So I guess I can't make too much fun of it, but it's just kind of funny where it's just like, oh, that's how he gets out of it. Cool. I thought it would have been kind of cool if somehow Bruce Wayne got out of it in his own way or something like that. That's what I think would have been cool. But I get it. It's a Batman TV show. You got to show as much Batman as possible. So then he starts chasing after Lucas, and they do a little fight on the rooftop, and they just fight it out. And then Lucas just has more acid in a vial, and he just tosses it at a pipe, and disappears like Batman.
Yeah, and what got me about this one, and I'm going to nitpick this to death only because I don't like the episode, so I'm going to be meaner to it when I don't like it. But he's a special effects guy. He's not like a stunt coordinator. The man's taking out Batman, and he's a VFX guy. I mean,
they should have had
that make sense.
Also. Should have been that. Also should have been like on the little police records. Like, he, he's a special effects guy and a stunt coordinator. That probably would have added a little bit more to it for that, because he pretty much gets away from Batman and gives Batman a little bit of a fight. So, but yeah, so then that all happens, and then um and then Bruce Wayne. All right, so then we go back to Nostromos, and we see him without the wig, that whole thing. He's bald, and he's talking about he's disappointed in Lucas because Bruce Wayne didn't die, because that was supposed to be the whole thing, because he said something bad, something was going to happen to him and everything. But then Bruce starts really getting into the performance, because then he's with, where like Nostromos gets a call from Ethan going like, it's a miracle. All of a sudden, Bruce Wayne is just, he's seen the light, getting all crazy. And then sure enough, Kevin Conroy does a really good job, though.
Yes, he does.
Performance thing, because Bruce is just like, when we see Bruce with Nostromos and everything, and it's just like, he starts talking about like, and then when it all happened, and just, it's just the way that he just sells it. It's over the top, but it's good.
It is good. Yes, it is good. And then, of course, Lisa walks in, and she actually believes that Bruce is like falling for all this malarkey, and
it kind of catches Bruce off guard, like, Lisa, man, because I guess they're dating. They don't really establish their relationship, do they?
No, that's another thing with this episode. That's another problem. The fact that these characters literally show up for this one episode, and
and that's it. It's like, at least say that they're dating. I don't know. Because it almost seems like he was going like, oh man, now she thinks I'm an idiot, but I have to do this. Like, so it kind of, I got that sense from Bruce, and then of course, then they start driving up. Let's see, they're driving up to, like, I guess like it's at
the planetarium,
the planetarium, and then of course they start talking about the Great Fall, which is economic, the economy is going to fall, everything's going to go to shit. So they've like, the whole con is Nostromos and Lucas have this fund that they're getting from these rich people that are just putting into it, but they can't get it. They can't get the any of the money unless Ethan signs it over to him. So then, Bruce starts kind of going like, oh, okay, well, that's
the scheme. That's the scheme. Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah. So he starts talking about the Great Fall. That's like the whole big selling point. And it's funny too, because it is very much like a cult. They got the hoods on, they got everything. And then of course he puts on this big, huge performance. And it's funny when you could see like the little hook on his back when he does the letter.
The fish hook and everything. And it's just like, and he's flying around and all
they're like, oh man. And Bruce is just like, what the hell? It's just like not having it. On the planetarium, like screens, it's showing like, destruction, crime, and all this stuff. I mean, he's selling it pretty good to these ding dongs, these rich ding dongs. So you got to give him props for that, at least. That's
honestly, I'm sitting here going, they deserve to have their money like swindled at this point. I mean, you're this stupid.
Yeah. I mean, and then of course Lisa, she's just like, you know what? I'm not. Well. Yeah, she's not having it. So she's actually sneaking on to the planetarium, and she finds Lucas in the room, the closet, or control room that's showing all of this, and then eventually, of course, Lucas ends up finding her and grabbing her, and then of course we won't see her until the end of the episode, and so then after all that happens, like I said, it's just funny. Like they wanted to emphasize like there is that hook, that little loop on his back, which is funny because I spotted that. I'm like, I don't even remember that. Like, I don't remember this at all.
I remembered it when I saw it, like when it popped up again. I was like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah. It's just one of those. But then we're back at the Batcave, and Alfred, this is a good exchange between Alfred and Batman, where he gets like, because essentially Bruce had to play the part of giving $10 million. And then like Alfred is all, man, and I was getting all skittish about the electric bill or something like that. He says something about that, little quip about that, and then Batman's basically saying that there's probably over $300 million in this fund. So it's like, yeah, these people are getting taken bad.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like they kind of deserve it because you're believing this shit.
I know. Like, it's like the only thing that makes it really bad is the fact that all the disasters that Nostromos and Lucas obviously instigated to make his prophecies come true. Like, that's really where the major, like, that's the only thing that really makes this like Batman level crime stuff.
Yeah. So, and then we get to Nostromus is like talking about the money with okay, so I think Ethan shows up. See, like I said, there's like I don't have a lot of notes here.
Well,
but yeah,
because so after this, because this is
that's
when
right.
Ethan shows up by himself,
Yes,
and
that's right.
and Nostromos is like, okay, now's my play. I basically need to cash out and get out of town.
Yeah,
He's
because
telling
right
them,
before this, Nostromos and Lucas, he's kind of basically telling him like another like 60 million has been put into the fun thing and blah blah blah. We'll be rich as pigs or whatever the hell he says.
he says rich as we'll be
rich
rich as pigs.
Yeah, exactly. And then just kind of tosses out. And then Ethan shows up, and then he can't find his daughter. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the guy who can see the future. Can you find out where my daughter is or something, but then of course Nostromos is like, well, here we go. This is where the plan's going to come into effect, and he wants him to basically sign over, approve to get the funds over, or else. And it's very 66 Batman.
So 66 Batman.
Yeah, because you got the planets that are on these gears that are hanging, and they're pretty big. And then all of a sudden, it's revealed that Lisa is tied up to one of those planets.
It's basically tied to the train tracks. Like yes. That's really where we're going. And
her mouth is, she's gagged, all that stuff. And so, so obviously Ethan is like, I trusted you, this, that, and this. And it's just like, you want to just slap him. Like, yeah, that's your fault. You put your daughter in this position. How dare she warned you. She warned you. And now she's strapped up to the planet Mars. And she's going to get her head cut off by the rings of Saturn. I know, dude.
Those are words that just came out of your mouth that accurately describe what happens in this episode.
Yes, that's exactly what happens in this episode. Because of course Batman shows up, and well, first off, like it's actually a kind of a funny moment where Nostromos still has his cables on, I guess. I mean, I guess he always has to have, like, when he's on his throne, because he does levitate when Ethan shows up to just give that illusion again. So he's always got the cables on that I guess you can't see. and then all of a sudden he gets, whoa, he starts going like a TikTok video of somebody at a Peter Pan, like theatrical theater,
yes,
like gets knocked through. Like it's like that. So then they go to the control room, and then they, go up to the top, and then the lights turn on. It's kind of cool. It's like, oh yeah, the lights are on, and they're gonna have like a little fight kind of thing. Kind of cool, but again,
it was like in black and white to like simulate the light, the blinding light in the shadow. It's like, okay, if the animation had been a different studio, that would have been a little bit cooler.
Yeah, but it's that. So then, of course, they're all fighting again, and then Batman and Lucas are going at it again, and then they fall. This is where they fall off the platform into one of the planets. Yes, and then this is where Lucas, I'm assuming this is the line you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh. Can you remind me what the line was? Because it was just terrible.
The line was that I have it written down wherever. Oh yeah. So they're falling in there, and he basically goes, "You're about to fall out of orbit, Batman."
Oh God, yes. And the delivery is terrible.
So bad.
God.
It's so bad. But of course, Batman prevails. And then he uses the planet Earth. He unhooks planet Earth, which then almost lands on Nostromos, who's trying to get away. Doesn't, and it lands, and then it rolls back, and then it got him. It crushes on top of him, and he's out for the count. But now Batman has to save Lisa, and this is where it gets dramatic, and it does get so dramatic. I mean, like I said, she is strapped there, and the biggest thing is, I mean, they're colliding. Yeah, the planets are colliding with each other, sure, but you could maybe survive that. I mean, if it's not a direct hit, you could probably be fine, but they emphasize those fucking rings of Saturn. Apparently, it's
blades.
Yes, it's shiny, and it's like, you better get to her, Batman. And I don't even know how he even does that. To be honest, I was kind of watching and going, he's like defying like gravity, which is kind of funny when it's at a planetarium where all these planets are, because he gets onto the planet she's on. I'm assuming that's Mars because it was red.
Right.
And then he pulls out his knife, but he's holding on to her, and pulls out his knife and starts cutting the stuff. And I'm like, how? I mean, I get
it's like if you cut here, isn't that going to release the tension here?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
A lot of things. And I'm going, but he's holding on to her. So all his weight is on her right now. I mean, that's a lot of weight. You're a big dude and she's a small woman. I'm just kind of going, oh, good Lord. And then gets her out just in time before she would have got sliced. And then of course, before they hit the ground, which I didn't think it was that high up, but I guess it is. But luckily he grapple guns and they swing off nicely and Lisa is saved.
And then of course we have to have the scene where like they have the mea culpa. Bruce has to act like that he was a complete idiot this entire time and then he quotes Shakespeare to end the episode
as he looks out, right?
Because it's from Julius. It was Julius Caesar, and it's the fault lies not in the stars but in ourselves. Because if you've ever seen that teen movie, The Fault in Our Stars, the title is a reference to that line from Julius Caesar.
Okay, I did not know that. So
yeah.
And then that's where this episode, I knew this was going to be a short discussion because
God, there's nothing there.
There's really nothing there. I mean, it was just a con man, and good job. He stopped the con man, and they had to try to add some kind of suspense at the end, and that's what they went with. This, the planets just, because apparently, it doesn't make quite sense either when it comes to, because what Nostromos does, which we didn't mention, while Lucas and Batman are fighting, he's hitting all the switches to put it overdrive where it says danger. The dial says danger. And then he just, destroys the whole console. So you can't stop it. And I'm like, why would that even be a setting? I'm like, why would that be a setting? So I don't
know, because that was an episode that I watched.
Yeah.
That was an episode of the series.
I think this might be like,
and I can't tell you the last time it was that I actually watched this episode.
Seriously. I would say that this is probably, in the 19 episodes, this has probably been the worst one. It really has. Like I said, I mean, we showed our distaste for we got Batman in my basement, but that was even way light years.
We had more to talk about with that one. Like that one we could at least have some fun with.
Yeah, that one we had fun with. This one was just like, God, what is this? Like, what is this? Really, this is just a total throwaway episode. And when it comes to everything, but it's okay, guys, because next week, Feet of Clay, part one. So we had to get through this one to get to a gem. A definite gem. And it's funny too, because
we get to have Ed Asner as Roland Daggett.
That's right. We get Daggett right there. May he rest in peace. And then of course we get Ron Perlman, who does voice he voices all of it, right? Or is it just
he's Hagen.
He's also Hagen too, right? Yeah.
He's also Hagen. And it's gonna be really interesting to next week to talk about how the animated series really did decide to take multiple Clayface and kind of and amalgamate them into their own version of Clayface. And because this is we'll talk about this, because this is one of the episodes with a character that then when I went to read the comic books,
they changed.
This screwed me over when it came time to like read the comics and go, okay, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not the same. Now they had to jazz it up a little bit. It did, which they do very well. And then ever since then, it's kind of like people, I don't know how many times I've had people like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to see like a live action Clayface? And I'm like,
oh God, there would be.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, he's a character in the Harley Quinn show, and it's like, I mean, there's a lot that they could do with it. I'm kind of wondering, because this was right around when Terminator 2 came out. I'm kind of wondering if they were like wanting to do like, hey, let's have this where he can do kind of like stuff like morph and change, and
boy does he do some T-1000 shit in that episode. Yes.
So I'm kind of wondering if they were like, that's just how we can make Clayface an actual character people would actually want to watch. Is let's see, there's that Terminator movie that's coming out. Yeah, why don't we do that, but with Clay? more, that's what I'm kind of thinking,
It
maybe
makes sense. It
it does.
makes
It was a
you make a lot of sense, Pena. You make a lot of sense.
I try. This is why I got, 1 million subscribers and everything like that. This is why this YouTube channel is just like skyrocketed now. No, but that's it, guys. That's a prophecy of doom. I don't know how many times when I was like titling this and doing the tags and stuff, I kept forgetting the fucking title. I was like Prophecy of Doom. Jesus, I was like a couple of times. I was like, I could not remember the Doom part. I was like, Prophecy of Light. It's just
it's doom.
Yeah. Oh my god. So
man,
yeah,
I did want to bring something up though, Dave,
okay.
and because I shared it with you earlier.
That's right. Dang, you totally almost forgot about that. Yes.
Oh, I wasn't going to let you forget about it because I did. I wanted to acknowledge the day because it is September 11th.
Yes.
And for those of us who are old enough, especially those of us who are old enough to remember that day.
Yeah, seriously. How was it with you? I mean, we're pretty much the same age. So you were in high school too, right?
No, it was
that's
college.
right. I was a senior. That's right.
Yeah.
I was a senior. So there you go. So yeah, you were in college.
I was on campus. I went to my 8 a.m. economics class and went to the college bookstore to pick up, funny enough, a copy of the New York Times. And it was there on the TV. I still remember walking down like the ramp down to the bookstore and just looking at the TV the whole time going, why is there all this smoke coming out of Manhattan?
Yeah.
And not knowing what's happening. But I bring that up because it's connected to what we do here is because, a lot of people are New Yorkers really stepped up. And Kevin Conroy, our Batman, was one of them. And he's told this story a couple of times. There was this movie that was done at Comic-Con called Comic Book the Movie, and there was a documentary. He told the story there. But the clip I found today was also, if you've seen the documentary, I Know That Voice, it's on Netflix. Kevin Conroy tells a story about him working at a kitchen for first responders after 9/11. And there was a tweet that went out. I think Kevin Conroy sent a tweet out of him with a picture of all the guys in the kitchen that he worked with. And it gets shared by like John Glover and Paul Dini. And I just wanted to, and if you've never heard the story of Kevin Conroy at this kitchen, I felt like it was important for you to hear it from the man himself.
And thank you for this, because I was like, I have no clips that I'm going to show from this episode that we discussed. So I was like, perfect right here. So here we go. Kevin Conroy.
I live in New York. And I after the attacks on 9/11, we'd be getting all these, hundreds of meals ready. And this one guy in the middle of the night, like 3 nights into this, he goes, so my day job is I'm an architect. He says, what's your day job? I said, well, I do voices mostly. I knew it. He said, you're the guy who does Batman. You're not Kevin Conroy. So he goes into this dining hall. And this is, the first week after the attack, and we've been like just this somber sadness. And you go, guys, you're not going to believe us. We're cooking your dinners. It's Batman. There's this long silence and you hear, bullshit! In the back of the place. And then someone else says, make him prove it. Well, this is good. So I'm in the back kitchen. I do in the back kitchen. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. There's this long pause and you hear from the back of the kitchen. Holy, that is Batman. And suddenly people were laughing. And the architect who had recognized me said, what's it feel like to be Santa Claus? Because that's what just happened.
That's awesome. You gotta love that, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the ability. I mean, this is what I mean, because this would have been 2001.
Yeah.
This would have been after Batman, after Superman.
Sorry.
That's fine. This would have been after Batman, after Superman, after Batman Beyond. Like, we're in like Justice League era. So by that point, you just like, can you imagine, ambulance workers, firefighters, policemen, but the guy who's the voice of Batman, and at that point, and it meant something
exactly
to those people, because I always also think about that Alex Ross cover of Superman.
Oh yeah,
looking at
firefighter. Oh yeah,
the firefighters and everything, and he's just going, "Wow!" Like that like just that idea of we have these heroes, these pretend things, and then but they still mean things, even to the guys who were like actually
the heroes.
Hero doing the work. And I love that story, and I always think about it whenever 9/11 rolls around, and I thought tonight was the perfect time to share it.
Perfect. I mean, perfect in the fact that it is 9/11, and then perfect the fact that we had this episode, which was kind of that. But yeah, when it happened with me, I was even talking about it with Ty also on his stream earlier. He's like, yeah, he said that he got sent home, but he lived like in the Boston area, so he was closer to the whole thing. I just remember waking up and going into the shower, like just getting ready for school, and my mom pounding on the door, and she was like, "We're being attacked," and I was like, "What? Like what is happening?" And then walking out into the living room and seeing the first tower just like on fire, like what the hell? It was weird, it was crazy. And then going to school, just a weird atmosphere. Like people were there was kids crying. It was just weird, and there was no teaching or learning happening that day. Every class I went to, the TV was on, and that's all we were doing. Just watching. Maybe a little bit that make here and there, but it was just like one of those. It was a weird day. It was
our classes got canned. Like that 8 a.m. That 8 a.m. economics class was the only class I went to that day, and I just stayed planted in front of the television, like trying to like understand.
I think actually they, now that I think about it, because like I said, it was just a weird day. I think after lunch, they just said, "Hey, if you want to go home, go home." It was kind of like that kind of thing. They just gave the option of like going home if you wanted to go home. So weird day, but I mean, to all the people that, we lost that day, I mean, we like to think about that, think about them, think about, honor them and everything. And then of course, all the, like you said, all the heroes, the actual heroes, like just like what Conroy was talking about, and even him, just like that's a great story to always reflect on this day and stuff. So I mean, just keep that in your thoughts. Moments of silence. We did that on Ty's stream. That was cool. Just give a little moment of silence for all the people we lost. And it's have you ever been to New York City?
I've never been to New York City. No, it's one of those. It's one of those things. It was weird to go. I remember I went back to Washington D.C. and just it's just weird to think of. There was a world we lived in before that day.
And then it just changed drastically.
And it's never gone back.
And I've actually been to New York, and I've been to Ground Zero. It's crazy. Like obviously this was back in 2012, 2013, something like that. And so it's just a big memorial, but it's crazy. Like it's just, just look down right in there, and it's just like, man, crazy to think that those buildings were at that spot at one point, and now it's just all the names and all this stuff all over the place. It's pretty crazy. It's like if you're in New York, definitely go visit 9/11 Memorial. It's something. It's definitely something. But anyways, guys, thank you for spending some time with us, even though this was that kind of episode. Like I said, next week it gets back into the goods.
And actually, I want to take a minute here, to leave on a positive note. I want to just let everyone know that we're about to get on another streak. Because listen to this. We've got Feet of Clay Part 1 and Part 2. So that's 2 weeks. Yep. Joker's Favor.
That's a good one.
Because we get the first appearance of Harley Quinn, which actually today is the anniversary of when that episode aired.
That's true. Yeah.
Vendetta.
I'm trying to remember Vendetta.
Killer Croc's introduction.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is a good title card too.
Yeah, it is a good title card.
Oh, it's a really good
Fear of Victory.
Yep. That's where we get some Dick Grayson, right?
That's
the first time we get Dick.
We didn't. Air date, it was the first time we got Dick.
True, because I forgot about Christmas of the Joker.
For the Joker.
Yeah.
Then the Clock King.
Oh, I love the Clock King.
I love that episode.
Yes.
And then I'll round it off with Appointment in Crime Alley, another Daggett episode.
Yeah, that's a Bullock. Is that a Bullock heavy episode?
No, that's our introduction to Leslie Tompkins.
That's right. Yes, Leslie Tompkins. Yeah. First has to do. Yeah, that's right. That's cool. And then we got what's after that?
Oh, you want me to keep going?
No. But it's Mad as Hatter. it's Mad as Hatter, so I'm like, oh, we get introduced to the Mad Hatter.
Oh, that's a good episode too.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna be getting on a streak. We just had to have that one little bump in the road, one little pothole. Let's go. It's okay. No Stromos. You'll be
You'll be forgotten very quickly.
Yes. Exactly. All right, guys, appreciate it. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead and plug yourself.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can listen to the new, revamped, revised, revitalized DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. You don't have to change your feed. It's the same feed. Just a new format, same feed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can find us on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, and the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com.
There you go. And you guys know what to do. Smash that like, thumbs up. Go make sure you're subscribed. If you want to become a member, do so. We got the Patreon stream that's happening later. So if you want to join the Patreon, join the stream. Patreon's down below. And then, of course, you got the Film Junkie Closet. And yeah, we're going to have, it's on the way. I posted it on my Patreon, and I think you saw it too. Yes, we'll have a shirt. We finally got around to making some new shirts, and we'll have a Batman the Fan-imated stream shirt for you guys to get if you want to. Anyways, guys, appreciate you clicking in with us and spending some time, and we'll see you next weekend. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, talk to you guys later.